Ready? Okay, we're canning bone broth, but we're going to talk about bone broth. Bone broth, which is also known as stock. Either way, some say that bone broth goes longer and has more health benefits. It depends on how you make it. So I'll tell you how we make it, which is this is beef bones. I'll show you one. This is what they turn out to at the end. Is they get all white and kind of bleached like this. And in fact, this one was actually a little bit shorter than we normally do. But normally we're putting in, any kind of bones. But let's go with the beef. So this would be like a femur, and you put especially stuff that has like the cartilage on it. So this is like on the knees, or this is a hip bone actually. And you put it in the pot, and ideally you want, the pot to have as much bones as they can kind of handle. And then you pour in water to kind of fill that up, and you want it as big a pot. We like these big pots. I also put into it, so like if I was like mostly bones in this, I would put sea salt. I use this Korean sea salt, which is this hand harvested kind of sea salt, but use a big mound, almost like a cup to 2 cups, maybe even 2 cups of sea salt, because it's got a lot of water in it. And then I also put in apple cider vinegar. Some people don't. Some people just do the bones. But then the other thing that I like to do with the bones, especially like beef and other stuff, is I pre-roast them. So I put them in the oven. I turn the oven on to like 450, and I let them go for probably up to an hour. And then they have a really nice kind of roasty type of beefy flavor. You put them in the water, you cover them with water, you put that much salt, you put about a cup of vinegar. Some people don't use it as much vinegar. I have found that when you use that much vinegar, or sometimes even 2 cups of vinegar, it's a lot of water, and you think, oh, it's going to taste really vinegary. No, it really doesn't. I have found when you do it with the salt in the water, salt in the vinegar, and then you bring it up to a boil, and then you turn it down and you let it stay on the low boil. We put it on the back burner, on the smallest burner possible, and let it it's literally about just a couple bubbles every once in a while. It translates to be about like 140 to 150 degrees. As long as you keep it at that, you go for 3 days straight. You put it on the back burner, and then when you go about 3 days straight, literally this will start to crumble. So this one is only gone for about, and a lot of stocks are only about 24 hours or so. The reason that I like to do them a little bit longer is because it actually pulls not just the collagen, and that's the big thing about bone broth, is that all the connective tissue and stuff like that, it turns into a liquid. And then when you drink it, it actually goes into your body. It's what makes up your joints. It's also what makes up your what's called the endothelial tissues, that's what your gut is made out of, the inside lining of your gut. So that's why it's really good for people who have what's called leaky gut. People got a lot of bloating with foods and stuff like that. When they do collagen and bone broth, you start to repair that real thin lining, and then a lot of people feel better. A lot of people, their joints feel better. Collagen is very, very important for your skin. Vitamin C and collagen helps to replace sagging skin or thin, crepey skin, that type of stuff. And then what we do is we then take it and we strain it and take out the bones and take out the flesh and all this other stuff. And then which is like right here, you can go ahead and eat it, or some people can feed it to the dogs or throw it out. But this is like meat and fat and other types of stuff in there. We have so much meat that we're going to give this to the dogs. Our dogs live a luxurious life. But then the bone broth, like I said, we will either freeze it or we'll can it. We run out of,
And the bone marrow.
Yeah, the bone marrow comes out of it, and so all of that stuff goes into, and it just appears into just kind of, it's not a clear broth, but you can see our broth is like a light yellow colored. A lot of people who do broth as stock, I think what the difference that makes a difference in stock is that people skim it. And so like when you're making faux soup, they make a bone broth out of that. They don't let it go as long, and they skim and skim and skim. And it has good flavor in it, but it doesn't have as much of the nutrients. We make our broth not only to make and cook with and have a lot of great stuff, but it's also to get the maximum amount of nutrients out of it, out of those bones. That's why I like to go for about 3 days. So that's How you do it?
I'm gonna put the lid